Okay, a few different reasons, of course. I would say one of the number one reasons is because women sometimes will weaponize it. So you can give them information and then they will absolutely use that against you to harm you, right? Sometimes you get with the wrong female and she will try to break you down mentally. So, um, like Humble Dad was saying, you have to have somebody who you can trust with that information. It's as men and humans in general, we would love to be honest. There's so much more work to lie. And then you have to be consistent with that lie, and you have to keep up with it. It's crazy. You don't really want to lie, but we just do sometimes because you don't know if you could trust that person with the information. And weaponizing is something really horrible. Um, Secondly, they might look at you differently, right? There's certain they might think that you are less of a man. They might think that you are soft sometimes, so it's difficult sometimes to be vulnerable with women just for that reason, because they don't know how to process it. They might not have a good idea, at least, of what masculinity really is. They judge you sometimes, and then it's horrible because now you don't have that safe space. You want somebody that you can really talk to. And I would say a third reason is sometimes we just want to protect the women because there's certain information that you give them that they may not know how to process the same way that you can as a man. There's certain things like financial difficulties and stuff you should, but you don't know what that's going to do to her. You might have a woman, you have to know where her mental space is. You might have a woman who's suffering from anxiety. You might have a woman who's suffering from depression, and any little thing could trigger it and they won't be in a good space. So that's another reason why you might lie. I don't know if you want to consider that a good lie, but it's really like damage control because you don't want to send this woman off the handles.
All right. Go ahead, Sean Antonio. What are your thoughts about it, sir? This is why he lies to you.
Damn, man. Trev took a bunch of what I was gonna say, man. I've had that
My
experience.
bad.
No, I've had that experience where it was weaponized, either during or after the relationship. When an argument comes up, sometimes it can feel like a woman is just waiting to throw that bomb at you, throw that dagger at you, and it's that dagger that, oh, that's why them dudes shot you when you were 17. You know what I'm saying? Like it, oh, that's why they had you running. You know what I'm saying? When they pulled them guns out, as if you're supposed to stand there and get shot. You know what I'm saying? And so I've had that happen to me. You know what I'm saying? And literally, like the lady said, bro, once that happens, like I'm not gonna give you too many chances to do that to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna, and this may go a little bit left, but this is how people end up having those emotional bonds with other people, because you do have people that are external that you can tell these things to, and it may be innocuous, it may just be benign, you know what I'm saying? But before you know it, it can possibly grow to be more of an emotional side thing, where you don't have any intention to do anything physical, but you're sharing these intimate things and these vulnerabilities with somebody else because your person didn't give you a place to land that plane. You know what I'm saying? And that's hard, man. When you have these things, like as men, I don't know if women really realize this. As men, we worry about things too. As men, sometimes we're unsure too. We take a lot of risks. I take a lot of financial risks as an entrepreneur. Now they're calculated risks, but they're risks. And sometimes you do want to talk them out with somebody, especially if that's somebody that you're sharing your life with. And sometimes you don't feel like you can do that because already know what they're gonna say. You just already know what they're gonna say. So you know what? Let me just go over here and have this conversation, and then I'll just go on about life. So yeah, ladies, please make a place for your man to feel safe and comfortable talking. And even saying that, I know some people's gonna be like, oh, that sounds like some soft shit. Nothing soft about me. Men have emotions too. It just is what it is.
All right. Go ahead, sir Hill.
Really dope perspective. So here's the thing. So a lot of women have been trained on how to talk, and a lot of men have been conditioned on how to hear a woman. I have rarely heard women be referred to as great listeners growing up. When I was growing up, the books that I read, the shows that I heard was always about a man needs to learn how to listen to his woman. And I didn't really hear a balance of that in terms of women knowing how to hear their man. And I don't just mean his words and being able to quote his words back, but I mean really hear that man's heart and then still respect him. Here's the ugly truth about manhood. is if a man opens up, this is what vulnerability is. If he opens up and he shows you some feelings, it is tough because when a man, you know how like you have money in your pocket and you feel good because you got a pocket full of money, it can't even bother you. And then your money get low and you feel some kind of way about it. You feel not as powerful, not as protected. Well, when a man is going through something that makes him vulnerable and he opens up about it, it's not that he feels like he's less of a man. Is he doesn't feel like as strong of a man, at least in that moment. And when he's allowing his woman to come into that, that's either like real talk. If a woman breaks his trust in that moment, he might stay married to her, but his trust for her goes down to the toilet. And there is a level of insight that he'll never give to her again because she abused that trust. And so I think it's important for two things. A lot of men are not confident with not being a robot. Like we're always in performance mode, and the moment we can operate at 100%, that to us is an indictment on our masculinity, because y'all know in 2023, if you ain't got six figures, if you ain't right, it's always something that says you're not a man. If you guys really think about masculinity, it's the moment you don't have something, the moment you lack something or you're not great at something, you're less of a man. Like your whole manhood, it comes into question when you don't have something. And I don't think women understand the pressure that men are under to not only be good men to you, but to be good men and to be providers, and then to be excellent providers, while we think about the fact that we're getting older, while we're thinking about the fact that we're not as quick as we used to be, and we see time going away from us, and we're thinking about investments, and did we raise our kids correctly? And then when I'm tired after working, I got to come home and I got to break my wife off, because they tell you if you don't give your wife love and you're not there, she's going to go get emotionally connected to somebody else, right? So it's like we go through so much, and I think that because we handle it so well, that women underestimate what men go through. So it's important for men to have circles like this, because the truth is, if a woman gets her perspective from another woman who cannot handle a man, she'll always think that Superman is the man, and not that Clark Kent is the man who just happens to have a cape to turn it on when he needs to. So men, we got to be okay with, like Sean said, the range of emotions. And when I say this, I don't mean the two emotions that men get. You get to be angry or you get to be horny. Those are the two emotions you get, sirs. You don't get nothing else. You don't get to be sad. You don't get is horny or angry. I need you to fight, or I need you to, I can't say the other word. Right. So you get those two emotions, right? That's all we get. So men, we got to make it okay to have a range of emotions, and not to poke at men who are already feeling, you know what I mean? Feeling depleted in some areas. That's the first thing. And then we got to teach women how to hear men, that when you hear a man, it is not your job to go into mother mode and to try to coddle us. We don't need you for that. A lot of times men don't even need you to say nothing for the most part. Just your presence there in your ear is all that we need. So that's my answer to that. This is why men lie. If we can't get this, we'll lie to you because we love you. But that does leave a door open for us to go cheat. I'll say this and then I'll land my plane. Like a lot of women be like, men are dogs, men cheat, men gonna go out, men go. No, men go where they are heard. And oftentimes a man will sleep with the woman who hears him. And so if you want to avoid that and cut that off, be willing to hear your man.